What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
We got the first of our weekly breakdowns for She-Hulk, the latest from Marvel on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
And episode 1, season 1. A Normal Amount of Rage was the title of this episode.
You know, I didn't even know the title. I'm glad you said that because I just watched it straight up.
Yeah, I'm always keeping
it's in my notes
titles.
as She-Hulk 1.
Well, when we did, I got in the habit of it when we were doing the Better Call Saul weekly breakdowns because those titles, like I wanted to know the next week's title because it was like kind of sort of a hint.
It would
into,
give you a, yes.
Yeah,
that's true.
A hint into what we were going to see.
Right.
But there's a little bit, this we're going to just talk about the episode today, and that's how we're going to frame these weekly breakdowns. But there's some other stuff that I wanted to talk about and then kind of just get it out of the way because there's a few things, noise, if you will, surrounding She-Hulk.
Repeating everything that I've already told you about my friend and colleague.
Obviously, Captain America wasn't virgin.
Look out!
It's about our main character, Jennifer Walters. She's being played by Tatiana Maslany. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. And she's our She-Hulk. Jennifer is the cousin of Bruce Banner, the Hulk, the Incredible Hulk, played by Mark Ruffalo. Jennifer Walters, she's an attorney. And in this first episode here, we get our little origin story. They together get into a car accident and...
shitty time to be stuck as a human in human form is when you get in a car crash. Kind of bad luck, I think.
She's got a big cut on her arm, and some of Bruce's blood sort of seeps into that cut, and quickly she transforms into the She-Hulk. Now, there was some interesting stuff here that people were talking about sort of prior to the show's release when the trailer first came out. We know that up until this point, Bruce had merged the two personalities of the Hulk and Bruce Banner into Professor Hulk, or as we find out in this
Smart Hulk
episode, people are calling him Smart Hulk in the world of the MCU. And we find out that he's been actually, he was able to spending the blip, spending the time of the blip, the 5 years of the blip in Mexico at a little lab that Tony helped him build. He was able to figure out a way to merge these two personalities. But there's also moments in this episode where he's actually in his human form, and we were like, well, what the fuck? How's he a human all of a sudden? Well, he has this device that he put on his arm. There's actually basically no explanation to it. It's very briefly touched on.
Yeah.
And I always find it...
The humor in that is that it was like probably a 2 or 3 hour explanation.
Yeah.
But the car ride that they're having, but they cut it into 2 seconds.
Yeah.
She's like, wow, this is like the most you've talked and blah, blah. And it's all about an excuse.
Right. So but you and I were laughing
at Cliff Notes. Yeah.
You and I were laughing about it, Dusty, while we were watching it, because I was just saying basically how funny it is that leading up to the show or anything that Marvel puts out, there's always like all this fan speculation and questions like, how is he in human form? Why is this happening? Because we saw him in human form in the post-credit scene for Shang-Chi as well. And it's just funny that like all the things that fans hype up gets explained in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the bulk of this episode, in fact, the entirety of the episode is sort of her explaining to us as an audience how she came to this point. So she's explaining to the audience how she came to be the She-Hulk, and she explains that only her best friend and cousin know about this. And the episode it's set in Mexico on Bruce's little secret island where he has his bar that he was so fond of and his lab. And he's basically trying to teach her the ways of being a Hulk. As you know, this is something that he has struggled with for a very long time. He spent a majority of his time with these abilities trying to suppress the Hulk. And it wasn't until he
spent a couple of years as the Hulk, spent a couple of years trying not to be the Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
He's done it all, killed himself a couple times.
And it wasn't until he realized that he had to sort of embrace the Hulk that the two personalities could sort of live in harmony with one another. Now, Marvin, I'm not sure if you know this, but so the Hulk and Bruce are very two different personalities. They are basically two separate beings vying for power over the body, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. I understand that.
And Jennifer, to Bruce's shock and dismay, doesn't have that problem. She's just always the smart version of herself with just Hulk-like a figure, strength, powers, all that good stuff. And she can control her transformations at will, it seems like. She could just come in and out of Hulk form whenever she wants. And he's kind of taken back by this. But there's a wider theme at play in this episode. And a wider theme and this is a theme that's throughout the MCU, the responsibility of one's power. And that's at play throughout the entire MCU. And he talks about this. He's saying, because she's very hesitant. She doesn't want to be the Hulk. She wants to be a lawyer. She dedicated a lot of her life and money and time to being a lawyer. She's like, I don't want to be a fucking superhero. And he's saying, like, it is our duty as superpowered people to protect the planet. With great power comes great responsibility. And that's a theme we see throughout. And it was a cool conversation that they had. Cool for two reasons. One, because it's like, oh, wow, you realize like all these Marvel heroes, they do things for people, not only as their superhero selves, but also as in their personal lives. Like Steve Rogers was going to, veteran support groups. And during the blip, he was going to support groups. Tony Stark went from being an arms dealer to like trying to create clean and renewable energy for the world. So they all sort of like do things on their own, both as superheroes and as people. And she's following suit as well because she protects people as a lawyer. And she also protects people, I'm assuming she's going to protect people as a Hulk. So
well, I think she takes it as a little bit of a different position because they don't entirely get along while they're on the island. Like she's getting along with it better than he realized she would. She has some differences that he didn't. She's not really wanting to be the Hulk superhero that he is. She just wants to go back to her life. And he's like, no, you're a superhero now. You have to take this serious, which he's right. There's some things that she needs to take seriously.
Right.
But I don't think she's not, which, as she figures out her powers and figures out what she can and can't do, obviously it's going to change what her direction is and what she wants to do and what she feels like is important. But for now, she just wants to be a lawyer. And he's like, yeah, I don't want to be a superhero. I don't want to be an Avenger. I just want to be a lawyer. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
She mentions Bruce throwing his life away by joining a secret government organization. Obviously, she means the Avengers. And he's like, I didn't throw my life away. She's like, you have nothing. You have no friends. You have no family. And you're living on an island over here. And it introduces the question of choice, right? And sort of the moral choice is like, should super-powered people like have a responsibility to protect people just because they're superpowered? Bruce thinks yes. She thinks no. She's like, I could be good in other ways. I don't have to be a superhero. So it's going to be interesting to see that theme sort of play out through the rest of the series. I assume it will.
Well, and I think there's a clear difference between you have these powers, right? Okay, so you have these powers and you're in a situation where you could use these powers to save people's lives. Do you use it? Obviously, yes. But then you have the other side of it where you have the Avengers where like they're going out and looking for it. So you have these superpowers and you're looking to use them to prevent things. And she's not like, I don't think she's really on board with being this whole, I'm an Avenger or I'm a superhero. I'm going to go out and I'm your resident neighborhood Spider-Man. I'm going to go out and stop crime. She just wants to live her life. She has superpowers. That's what it is.
And we actually see that in the end of the episode. She's in this court case that the beginning of the episode prepared us for. And during her final statement, some person comes busting through the fucking wall like the fucking Kool-Aid man.
Person. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And-
Is that even a real villain, dude?
Oh, yeah.
She was looking crazy.
I had no idea who
Is that a
was.
real villain?
No idea.
Oh, okay.
I did not look at the credits. Don't know who that. I don't
I'm
think we ever.
I'm
figured
sure
out
it's a
who-
callback to
It-
some sort
probably
of
to something. Yes,
to some
If you
comic
read
book. Like,
She-Hulk,
yeah,
maybe
But-
you know,
Oh,
but if
maybe
you
you
didn't,
know.
probably not.
I'll have to
So,
consult my boy
I definitely
Ed.
didn't read She-Hulk, but
Ryan probably knows something about it.
I want to say,
Yeah.
first, Cheetos and chopsticks is not real. Stop pushing your shit in this. All right, let's get that clear.
Listen, you don't want to get your fingies
that's-
all dusty.
That's old school shit, Marvin. Actually, it's
That's old school shit
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
some Vietnam shit.
back in my day.
All right.
So,
Yeah.
so the Hulk blood, the Hulk juice is like cooties. Right?
Hulk juice. Well,
I'm glad I got that explanation at
Yes.
the beginning because I didn't
well,
understand.
you got it
that
in
his
some of the other
blood-
movies. Like, yeah, his blood has the gamma
He's basically
radiation
like
and
a-
it affects people. Yeah.
Super vampire is what
Hmm.
you're saying.
no.
One of these Stan Lee cameos in what was it? Was it the Edward Norton movie
Probably.
where a drop of his blood got in the bottle of soda water at the plant
That's
he was working
right.
at, and Stan Lee took a drink of it and was like, he got super juiced up. It
That's
wasn't enough
right.
to turn him, but yeah, Hulk blood, and that's why like
His blood was also used to create the Abomination,
That's
yes.
right. Okay.
Emil Blonsky, played by Tim Roth, and he will make an appearance later in this series. We know that from the trailer. So it'll be interesting to see where the series goes. I think one thing they set up that I don't think we've even seen the beginning of is this court case that she was involved in. I think it's going to be somewhat significant. But we'll
Spaceship showing up out of nowhere.
yeah.
It's got to be some
Yeah.
sort of significance.
Well, he
Right.
mentioned it was a Sakaar ship, and Sakaar was where he was stranded in Thor Ragnarok.
Right.
So
and I know he's hinted at he's ready for a World War Hulk. So
I was reading IMDb before we started recording, and there's some pretty hilarious user reviews. A lot of low reviews. The show, I mean, it's just one episode, so take this with a grain of salt, but it has a 5.9. And
What?
it seems like
What
it's
the fuck is wrong with people?
well, it seems like it's getting a little bit hate bombed, you
Wait.
know?
is this
Oh,
the one
God.
where 40% of the reviews are 10s and 40% of the reviews are 1?
The top reviews I'm seeing are 1, 1, 3, 2, 3, 5, and I'll read you the titles of the reviews. I won't-
Because those are the quote unquote woke movies.
Well,
like if you
right.
look at the reviews and
Oh,
40% are 10 and 40% are 1, they're like, oh my God, the woke people hate it or the woke people love it. Like,
well, the anti-woke people who are sitting in their basements right now, rage typing on IMDb, they're upset because the theme of this show was a woman's experience is very different from a man's, right? And that
Yes,
was
it
that,
is.
and that was what she was trying to convey to Bruce. And that's what she was
Yes.
trying to convey to her colleague who was like, no, let me do the closing speech. And she was like, I got this. I'm a very capable lawyer.
Yeah.
But some of the titles to these reviews, why is she better ? Because she's the better Hulk. She adapted faster. She could change. She's stronger. She can control it. Who is running Marvel these days? Yeah. We get it. Meh, not for me. That's my favorite one. And then great character ruined in a poor show. Now, I don't know how people are talking about this show like they've seen the whole fucking thing already. One episode's out, so I don't know how you're even passing a judgment on it.
right.
But a lot of these, if you read through them, it's about the wokeness that, oh, here we go, Marvel trying to push another strong female character.
What?
You know, to you people who think that
the
like
him, she, you, man.
yeah, she's like literally the third or fourth female lead. I don't know, but to you people who think that like wokeness in comic books is new,
Right.
you are just not familiar with comic books because they were woke from their inception. Sorry to tell you this, since the 50s.
Well,
and 60s.
yeah, I mean, she was an early like transfer, I guess, of character. Like,
I mean, forget her. You just
it-
got like,
obviously she's not the Hulk. It's the She-Hulk,
right.
and so she is canonized from the Hulk.
Yes.
And she's one of the originals to do it. They did it with he had Supergirl. Obviously, he had Batgirl. He had other characters like this, but
Not going to mention.
I
Wonder
mean,
Woman.
yeah. Well,
You're talking about spin-off characters, spin-off from male characters to female characters with similar names. I know what you're saying. But yeah, people perceive this as like, oh, they're trying to push the woke agenda of like women are better than men, women are stronger than men. It's like, first of all, like I don't want to go too much into it. It's just like put your fucking for 1 second. It's not about anything but, and the show explains it very clearly, understanding the experiences of others. That's it. People have different
Well,
lived
and I think that goes both ways as well, though, because I mean, if you want to get into like the complaints about the show and shit, people are like, when she's griping at Bruce about how I can control my anger all the time because I'm a woman, because I get catcalled,
she's used
because
to it.
I could get murdered, because I could, well, in the same sentiment, like she's angry at Bruce, she doesn't really understand what he's been through, what Bruce Banner's been through, what the Hulk's been through.
100%. But that's not what people are complaining about. People are complaining about the
Sure. I'm just trying to elaborate on it to be a more subjective conversation. Like if you want to go down that road, yeah, he doesn't understand what she's going through. She doesn't understand what he's going through. These are things that like generally are talked about in social media content, like comic books.
Sure, 100%. I mean, comic books. So that's what I said. From their inception, comic books have been like social commentaries. You know, again, X-Men, civil rights. You know, and this is just something that's just like, yeah, she has different abilities as the Hulk because of her lived experience, right? So it's like, I don't understand why people are mad at it. I actually don't care, and I never want to talk about it again. I just wanted to bring it up this one time because I thought it was funny. No one's forcing you to fucking watch the show. Nobody's forcing you to pay for a fucking Disney Plus subscription. So just shut the fuck up and stop typing on IMDb, because I'm probably the only person reading it. Like, no one cares.
Keep typing, keep venting, keep doing your thing.
Just do it in our YouTube comments.
It's pretty funny. I don't think it's that deep for them to have these types of thoughts on it. These people have biases before they even start the show, so it's bound to come out when they watch something like this, where it's in your face. But going back to some of the plot stuff in the show, so at first I thought she like lost her memory or something, but she kind of finally remembers when they're in the lab. Is there like a memory loss sort of thing?
I don't know that she forgot. I don't know that she forgot. Because when she switched in front of him, she says, "I'm doing this all the time." Like, it kind of infers when you're watching it, like she doesn't know what happened, but you don't really know whether she does or doesn't know what happened.
Right. Because at first, she goes to that bar and she doesn't like even have any type of like self-reflection where it's like, oh my God, what just happened to me or anything. She's just, she just seems confused.
I took it as the things that took Banner years to strengthen and perfect took her a very short amount of time. So her initial transformation was like the raging fucking Hulk.
Yeah.
But her actual Jennifer Walters personality very quickly like subdued.
Well, that I understood. I just meant initially, I guess. But yeah, that part I do understand.
So I guess I'm not following what you're asking then.
Well, at first, when she transformed, she just woke up in the middle of nowhere. She was dirty,
she kind of blacked
She goes to
out.
the bar.
So
that's what I'm saying.
she basically sees herself transform in the reflection of the car, and then she runs off. And she passes out, and she wakes up, and she walks into the bar, and she's looking at herself in the mirror, and like she really hasn't taken stock of what's happened.
The reason for that,
you don't know whether she knows it or not.
So my answer is still the reason why, because if so you might not know, because I know you haven't watched a lot of the Marvel shit, but every time Banner transforms into the Hulk in like the earlier Avengers movies and stuff, he wakes up like fucking in like a state of like confusion. He doesn't remember what happened.
Right, okay.
So because that initial transformation was like the fucking like just Hulk, she has no memory of it, and then very quickly Jennifer Walters takes over, so every time she transforms it's different. So
she starts to recognize and control the power.
She goes through the evolution of Banner in like a matter of like minutes or days or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
In one or two transformations versus 5 or 10 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was just confused about the initial
that makes sense.
I guess. Yeah.
So speaking of the transformation, that brings me to the other thing I want to talk about, and I only want to talk about it once because I don't really care that much, and I think everybody complaining about it is incorrect. But some of the noises about this show is that the CGI is really bad. And it was probably one of the things people were talking about the most after the first trailer released. And then with the second trailer, they did another pass on the CGI. And then there's now a controversy attached to it where the VFX artists who worked on this were like, well, what the fuck do you want from us? Marvel like is like borderline abusive towards us. And they have these like really crazy deadlines. Dusty actually reported on that. So, and we talked about it in one of our recent episodes. So, personally, I actually didn't think the CGI was that bad.
Neither.
I was talking to Dusty about it because we watched the episode together last night, and in comparison, when you see her and Bruce together on the screen, it is actually a little bit jarring because his is so detailed, and hers looks sort of just like flat. And Dusty even said to me like, "Well, you got to remember like Banner is the result of like 10 plus years of
15 years of mapping out." Of
motion capture
CGI,
and like renders and different passes and added detail. So they were probably just able to use like all that stuff that they had on board, where she's being created from the ground up new. But the other thing that I said too was that like with Banner, and I don't so he has different features, like he has facial hair and like skin blemishes and like arm hair and stuff like that they don't have on her. So you do kind of notice the lack of detail a little bit, which I think makes her stand out a little bit more and make her look a little bit flat. But it wasn't enough to like take me out of it and make me be like, oh well, fuck Marvel, like this sucks.
Yeah, it didn't ruin my immersion. I mean,
no, not
she's
at all.
A fucking Hulk. Like it's not like. So the only thing that I was fucking with me was
you're gonna say the same thing. I know we're thinking the same thing. Go ahead.
Maybe her fucking hair is terrible.
Why is her
when
hair?
It's down?
It's long.
When it's down, it's terrible. But when it was in the bun, when they were doing the training, it was great. I was like, okay, they need to put her hair in the bun a lot more because the hair when it's down is really bad. It just looks nothing to do with the CGI or anything. It just looks terrible.
Well, I said this
something they're gonna trouble to recreate from the comics because her hair gets pretty wild in some of the comics.
Okay.
I haven't read a lot of them, but I've seen some images and some stills and stuff. It's wild.
Yeah, it's 10 times better when it's in the bun. That's all I'm saying.
I said this to Dusty, like her hair as the Hulk is like long and like straightened and everything, but her normal hair is like short and like curly.
Yeah, what the fuck?
So it's just like weird.
There's a lot of like comic pictures where like she has like it's not just wavy, like it's like super wavy, almost curly.
But he also he had this book Coming to Terms with Being the Hulk. That was like his journal of his experiences.
Yeah.
But it's also like that's like an amazing title for like a self-help book. Like imagine like an anger management book where that's the subject matter. I could see that being the title of that book.
Let's get into our final thoughts here. I thought it was a great episode. I'm actually looking forward to the rest of the show. I'm not somebody that knows like all the fucking deep down lore of She-Hulk. I've never read a She-Hulk comic in my life. And honestly, going into this, I wasn't particularly super interested in the character. But this episode was enough for me to actually get interested. I'm curious where it's going to be going.
Yep.
I think Tatiana Maslany is an amazing actress. I've seen her in some other things.
Oh, have you? What?
She was for me, most notably the HBO show Perry Mason. She was in that.
Oh.
And she plays like this religious sort of cult leader. She's really good in that.
I need to see that. Okay.
Not really a leader. She's like a prophet for this like super religious like cult type of thing.
Got it.
Really good show. But yeah, she's great. We got some characters showing up to look forward to. We're going to have Benedict Wong as Wong, the Sorcerer Supreme. He's going to be in this series. We know from the trailer.
That guy?
Yeah.
He was so trash in the last fucking movie.
Tim Roth
Sorcerer
as
Supreme.
Abomination. We're going to have Charlie Cox showing up as Daredevil. So some exciting stuff to look forward to. I enjoyed it. Marvin, coming into this like with a lot of context like of the MCU in general, sort of lost on you. What did you think?
I really like the show so far. Straight up, it seems really fun. Mexico is fucking beautiful, man. Wherever they are, I need to visit. But yeah, I'm super excited for the rest of this show.
Yep.
I'm pretty hooked already, I think. And it's short and sweet.
Awesome.
30 minutes. Yeah, love it.
30-minute episodes is kind of bittersweet because sometimes when you're really into something, you want more of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like with Marvel, it could be okay if they're going to be releasing so much shit. I feel like maybe short and sweet is not so bad.
Depends on how they do it.
Yeah.
What did you think, Dusty?
I thought it was good. I'm looking forward to seeing how it's fleshed out. It is a, like you said before, this is a character that breaks the fourth wall, hopefully, and it's a legal dramas with the the Boston Legal or Suits or Murphy's Law or something like that, where it's a superhero that's breaking the fourth wall. So there's a lot of opportunity here for some great jokes. And I hope that the writers can come through with it.
Yeah, I just hope it's
we'll
not
see.
too annoying with that talking to the camera shit. It could be kind of annoying.
Yeah, it's
I
got to be
didn't read
done
the
right.
comics, so I don't know.
It's there's got to be a subtlety to it for sure. But it can be genius when done right, because Deadpool, I mean, Ryan Reynolds did it amazingly. So
yeah,
we'll see.
And real quick, so the fight they had was cool, but why did the Hulk have such flimsy ass glasses?
Because he's the Hulk. Well, you can't make Hulk glasses. That's why I said spandex
You
is your
couldn't
best
get
friend.
Tony to make you some fucking
Some
vibranium fucking glasses, dog.
You gotta
Come
go
on,
down
dog.
to Wakanda for that shit.
Yeah. And the post-credit scene was so funny.
Oh, her shit
Where
face
they were
talking
talking
about
about
Cap being a virgin. Yeah.
Captain America, fuck.
Captain America
Captain
does
America
fuck.
fucks.
It's America's ass, Marvin.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, there you have it, folks. That's our thoughts on episode 1 of She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. Tune in next week to see our thoughts on episode 2. We'll be releasing these videos every Friday for the duration of this series. And subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like on the video because it helps us out really well with the algorithm. And hit the bell to be notified for videos in the future. And of course, go check out our website, harshlanguage.tv, to stay in touch with us. And you can see all of our recent podcast episodes, YouTube videos, and news.
All of our curated content from everywhere else.
That's right.
Except
Curated.
TikTok. You got to go to TikTok to see TikTok content.
Any curators? All right, folks. Catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.
See ya.
Asta.